Hello and welcome to the Empower Couples podcast, where here you get modern, non-boring relationship advice for you and your partner to communicate like pros, fight smarter, and stay on the same team no matter the challenge that you face. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Freeman, and I'll be your only host today. So if you are a new listener, then Jocelyn and I actually do our own solo episode every once in a while, and these are on our Thursday episode. So today I had a topic that I wanted to bring forth, and that is the danger of being overly considerate towards your partner. And this is something that I have been feeling personally for myself. And if you're wondering, well, where does this come from? Well, all of our podcast episodes come from messages on DM. It comes from emails, questions that we get, topics in our coaching. And all of that really does come from Jocelyn and I look at all of these things in our own relationship. So I wanted to bring this forth because this is something that I have experienced and wanted to share with all of you here. And it's an interesting idea. How could I be overly considerate towards my partner, or what would be more of the detriment? Why would that be a problem? Well, as we dive in here, let me talk about why this is so important. Now, when I say considerate, there is another definition that I want to bring forward, and that is called pleasing. Now, many of you know that we have a relationship assessment that we do as a part of one of our self-paced courses, and we always do in our private coaching. And this pleasing trait is actually a part of your own individual personality within a relationship. And this plays a big role in the dynamics that play out. Your conflict resolution, your communication, your feeling of happiness, of being fulfilled. And this pleasing trait is actually defined by how considerate and cooperative you are in your interactions with your partner. Now, this really is a positive thing. You want to be considerate, you want to be compassionate, understanding, and cooperative with your partner. But when you have a very high level of pleasing or being overly considerate, which is really what I want to talk about here, there's some dynamics and there's some things that can start to happen for you as a partner where you feel less fulfilled, less happy. You're not as decisive, not as assertive in your communication, and that has you start to feel the main point that I found for myself is almost being passive or being disengaged in the relationship. Now, I'm looking at an assessment here that we did with a couple, obviously always keeping this private, but this first partner had a very high level of pleasing while the other partner was average. So in this scenario, when one person scores higher, they may need to practice their communication and conflict resolution skills. One partner may need to develop their ability to honestly express both positive and negative opinions and feelings. And that's a big thing. You can start to suppress some of your own feelings, ideas, decision making if you're too overly considerate. And then in doing so, you can allow the more assertive partner the opportunity to listen and understand truly how you feel. So it's a benefit to your partner, though you might feel, I don't want to bring this up, I don't want to cause a conflict. It actually is an opportunity for your partner to listen to you even more and practice being a better listener. So the real danger here, as I mentioned, in the day-to-day looks like this. It's not necessarily, as we've talked about, being compliant. And compliant is that you say yes to something where maybe your partner makes a decision or asks you about something to do with finances, how to discipline kids, where to go to eat, what you want to do today. Maybe it's the weekend. And they may ask you to do one of these things and you say yes when you felt within that you did not want to, or that you wanted to do something slightly different, but you still comply. This is not exactly what I'm talking about here. It's definitely something to look at. In this case, being overly considerate doesn't mean that you wanted to do something different, but how I've experienced this is I just asked Jocelyn a lot of questions. So let me give you an example here. I found myself starting to ask Jocelyn a bunch of different things that were very trivial. With walking our dog Ellie, for instance. Hey, when do you want to walk her? How do you want to walk her? Do you want to hold the leash? Do you want to pick up that poop? when it had to do with making dinner. Hey, do you want to eat now? What would you like to eat? Hey, would you like to go to a movie? So I was asking Jocelyn all of these even more trivial questions throughout the day. When I reflect, these were decisions I could have easily made for myself. And many times asking Jocelyn things like, hey, what is going on with this coaching call we have coming up? Or, hey, did you send that email to the client that we needed to send? Many things I could find out the answer to myself. Maybe I Google it. Maybe I look in our note sheet for notes with an upcoming client. I just started asking Jocelyn all these trivial questions, as I mentioned, that I could find out. And what did this do? Well, this has Jocelyn feel kind of blindsided, kind of interrupted in her day. And this is something we talk about a lot, where she's in the middle of something and me asking all of these questions, seemingly being considerate because I'm asking her preferences, but it becomes an interruption. It feels overwhelming. It starts to feel maybe that I'm dependent on her to make any decisions. And there you can get part of the danger. Now, for myself or for you, I really want the takeaway to be just looking at this for yourself and bringing awareness to if this is happening and how this feels to you. So to me, asking Jocelyn all these trivial questions that I could easily come to decisions on, it lowers my decisiveness, it's lowering my assertiveness, and it will get to a place where, man, what is it that I even really want to do? Because I'm not giving myself the space to use my intuition to, get what we would call like intuitive downloads, or to get guidance for myself, decide on what's right and in alignment for me. And when that happens, I start to feel not as happy. I don't feel as good about myself, not as fulfilled. And when that happens, obviously we know our energy and our attitudes in a relationship does have an impact on our partner. So that is another aspect, but this one I really want to bring forth to you, the listener. Just the feeling of overall happiness, of joy, of decisiveness, of being grounded, of being certain, of being excited, and just being decisive. That's really the big part here, and the danger of being overly considerate towards a partner and asking all these questions is that starts to diminish within yourself. And so on these podcasts, we always give like a what to do, but I'm not going to do that here. The what to do is actually awareness. It's bringing conscious focus and awareness to if this is happening for you. So today or over the next few days, start to look at places where you've been, quote unquote, overly considerate, asking a lot of questions to your partner about, number one, things you could easily find the answer to. Number two, things that are more personal to you that you don't really need to be asking your partner's advice on, because these are the places for you to grow in your own confidence, in your own self-awareness. And obviously we know this has a big impact then on the overall dynamic within your relationship. So that was what I wanted to bring forth. I really appreciate you all listening, seeing this title, and if that resonated with you, I think this will be a very big opportunity for growth for you. And one other opportunity for this big kind of growth as well is that we happen to be doing a free Communication Mastery Webclass here coming up on July 20th. We don't do too many free web classes, but as you heard here on Tuesday, we've been loving these web classes. We are loving connecting with all of you. We're getting so many messages, and we just want to do this as really a gift. And it is free, Communication Mastery Webclass. And we'll put the link here in the show notes. It's also at onlinecouplesworkshops.com. And you're going to get the 4 skills you must acquire to understand each other's needs, create win-win solutions, and deepen your emotional intimacy. So make sure you get registered for that. We did max out the Zoom room, so this will be done on Zoom. It's going to be 300 people, so make sure you reserve your spot for this free Communication Mastery web class. I look forward to seeing you there. I know Jocelyn does as well, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next podcast episode. Go out there, become the best version of you, and become the best partner you can be.